Hi, I'm Beth W.E., one of the co-founders of BethWE.com, and I'm here today to talk to you about the 12 steps to wholeness. Today we're talking about step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. It's a long step, isn't it? And it starts with seeking. I don't know anybody sitting out there looking at this video who isn't a seeker. And that's what this step is all about. It's doing what you do best. Sought. But we're going to tell you how to seek. This time, we want you to use prayer and meditation. Prayer. What's prayer? It's kind of like talking to God. It's having a conversation with someone. Some people use rote prayers, prayers that they've learned. In 12 steps, some teach that there's certain prayers in the books that they have. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, they have a 3rd step prayer, a 7th step prayer, and an 11th step prayer. The 11th step prayer is the prayer of St. Francis. It starts with, God, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. You know the prayer. You can repeat that prayer, and that's fine. But I'll tell you this. As your relationship with the higher power improves, you'll be talking to them. You'll be talking to your higher power like you're an old married fart. You'll grunt and the higher power will know what it means. Your prayer life will change profoundly because you'll be at peace and at ease in the presence of the higher power. At least that's my hope for you. But what about meditation? Meditation is where you get quiet. There's many types of meditation. You can go to your library, probably. There's often meditation classes offered for free at local libraries. You can go to a Buddhist retreat center. A lot of Buddhists will teach you the art of Zen meditation. You can just go by yourself. I often tell people that when I'm feeling angst, I usually take one word, and I'll kind of hold myself like this and say the one word, and I'll rock. And it's usually one of two words. Either stay, if I don't want the higher power to leave me, but I don't really want the higher power's input, I'll beg for the higher power not to leave me, and I'll just say stay, 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 stay. And if I can't feel the connection of my higher power, which isn't as frequent for me anymore, but it does happen, I'll rock and I'll say, come, 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 come. And those two things, that little chanting, is a form of meditation because it frees your mind from the other thoughts. If you need a guided meditation, feel free to hop onto our website. We have one on there. It has maybe a little bit of a more deeply spiritual connotation, so make sure you can handle that. But other guided meditations are available. Google it. Google guided meditations and see if you can find one you'd like. Because getting quiet, thinking about your breathing, to quiet yourself so that your mind stops talking to you. And when you open your mind like that, it's almost as if the source of all creation can suddenly be manifest in your head. It's like you're hearing from God. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. It's the experience of millions of people who meditate. You can do it. So you're going to pray and you're going to meditate. Why? Because you're seeking a more profound connection with your higher power. And when you pray, what are you praying for? The step tells us, praying only for knowledge of His will for us. Knowledge of His will for us. That just sounds kind of, because it seems like God always wants me to do something right. It seems like in my mind, God is all about broccoli and not very much about hot fudge sundaes. And it seems like through life, that's God's choices. But what I've found is that's not true. And when I pray for God's will for me to know what it is, and I forget the end of the step, I pray for the power to carry it out. We're back to knowing God. God is not there's a saying, they say, the will of God will never lead you where His grace cannot keep you. If God wants you to do something for Him, God will give you the power to do it. When I was first in relationship with God, I would go to my mailbox and this little elderly lady would come out. She always was at her mailbox at the same time. Coincidence? No, she was watching for me. I didn't know it then. I was naive and I just thought it just kept happening that I saw her. But I had told her about my experience. I had had a spiritual experience with God, and it was not a God of my understanding. I didn't have any understanding. I was just had a spiritual experience and was trying to kind of figure out what had happened to me. She would come out every day and talk to me. Her name is Viva Clay. And she said to me this one day, "What are you afraid of, Beth? Why are you afraid to be in relationship with God?" And this is a long time ago, people. So they used to have TV commercials that had children in Africa with the distended bellies from hunger. And those commercials would really upset me. And I'd say, "Oh, Mrs. Clay, I'm afraid that if I really give in to God, He's going to make me go to Africa and feed those babies with those big bellies, and I don't think I can do it." And she said, "Oh, honey, you just don't know God yet. Because if that's what God's will is for you, it'll start gently. You'll read a book, and Africa will be in the backdrop, and it will make you curious about it." And she goes, "And then you'll meet someone, and they'll talk to you about an African country where they just were, and you'll want to go. You'll just want to see what they saw." And she goes, "And then something else will happen where in your heart you realize, wow, I could really make a difference over there in Africa." And she goes, "And by the time you're getting on the boat or the plane to go to Africa to feed these babies, we wouldn't be able to keep you off the boat or the plane. You will be so sure that that's what you want to do." That's how God imposes His will. He opens your mind. He opens your mind to new truths, to new understandings, and He pulls you into the experience. That has been my experience. Mrs. Clay was right. No, I never did go to Africa to feed the babies with the distended bellies. But I've been a lot of other places doing things I can't believe I've done to help people find connection, to help people not be alone. And how do I come up with the gumption or the courage or the power to do that day in and day out? I seek connection with my higher power using prayer and meditation. And for the first time in a long time, I usually want God's will before my own. I hope that will come true for you. It's another one of the steps that practice, practice, practice. You never get it down perfectly, because as long as we're wearing a skin suit, we will be more human than we are spiritual. But I'll tell you what, the spiritual world is, as Bill Wilson said in one of his writings, the spiritual world is, you've got to live it. Don't sell yourself short. Start working step 11 every day. We're almost to the end. We're going to talk about step 12 next. I hope you join us for that. For today, thanks for listening.